What's up everyone? This video is going to be about the NCAA 48-hour rule. A lot of misconceptions are out there about this rule. You can get your eligibility back, this and that. I'm here to clarify a lot about it. As somebody who broke the rule states that you are not allowed to go to major junior tryouts, which means QMJHL, WHL, or OHL, or professional hockey in general for more than 48 hours. From the minute you park your car to the minute you leave, you have 48 hours. That is the literal definition about it. The reason behind this rule is because the NCAA is an amateur league. Amateur in terms of you don't get paid, you don't get expenses paid, you don't get any of that paid. It's funded by the school. It doesn't count as a professional athlete. Whereas those major juniors or going to a pro tryout is considered professional. So you are no longer amateur and can no longer play NCAA after that. That's the literal term about this. Now, the reason I'm talking about this is because I myself broke this rule. Coming from Quebec, we don't know much about NCAA. It's getting better. We did it before. I went to play Midget AAA, which was U17 AAA, got drafted major juniors by the Shawinigan Cataracts in the QMJHL, and we grew up that that's the big goal. That's the only way to make it to pros. That's the only way for you to succeed and make a name for yourself in hockey and keep playing at the highest level. So I went to tryouts. I didn't know about this rule, so I went to tryouts, and I was the last cut. I stayed there for 7 days. I went to practices, I went to games, I did it all. Got cut, went back to my junior team. Played junior A the whole year at 17. At 18 years old, I went back to major juniors again, this time for 𝗷𝗂𝗶𝗴𝗏, another team in the same league. I got outbeat, I got cut again. I went back to junior A in Quebec again at 18 years old. At 19 years old, I found out what NCAA was. Once I found out what the NCAA was, I immediately wanted to play. I went to play for Team Canada. I got 6 Division I full scholarship offers. That's really when I started looking into what all this was. Now, you have to go through something called the Eligibility Center. It's a website. You fill up your information, you fill out a database, and they're basically asking you questions. Where you played, what you've done, did you do this, did you do that? They want all this information. If you lied, you will get caught, and there are consequences to that. Suspension for 5 years, which is your entire NCAA career. Fines, getting ineligible permanently for Division I or Division III. There's a bunch of things that can happen. So they ask you to tell the truth, and they will background check it all. I gave them the true information. I went to tryouts. They came back with a 5-year suspension. NCAA career, you're allowed to play 4 and be at school for 5, which means that you have 1 year that's a redshirt year. If you're suspended, if you didn't play, if you got hurt, whatever reason, that's your redshirt year. They came back with a 5-year suspension. Now, out of 6 schools, 5 of them backed out. 1 university, Mercyhurst University, can't see the jersey right now, they offered me a full scholarship anyways and helped me fight this. I had a case, I had precedents, they helped me fight this. Here's the thing about this rule. Before my case, there was a lot of loopholes. That has changed. So I found those loopholes. I hired a lawyer. I had to go to court for about 7 months against the NCAA to fight and get my eligibility back. All this, they came back and gave me a 1-year suspension. So for my first ever season of NCAA hockey, I could not practice with the team, could not go to the gym with the team, could not travel with the team, could not dress with the team, nothing. I was practicing by myself at 5 in the morning, going to the gym by myself at 6 in the morning, going to class. And then when the team was doing their activities in the afternoon, I was sitting in the bleachers doing homework and watching them practice for an entire season. And no, this is not the redshirt year. This is not considered redshirt year. This is a season that you were eligible to play and you were suspended. So instead of having 4 years to play, I only had 3. That was how it worked. The redshirt year is if you're injured or if you played less than 10 games. So that's enough about me. You guys get a general concept of why I'm talking about this rule. I understand it very well. I've gone through it myself. The 48-hour rule. It is exactly 48 hours from the minute you park the car to the minute you leave, you're allowed to be there. You can get on the ice for practice, you can go to the gym with them, the testing, you want to eat with them. Everything that's part of camp, you can do except games. What that means, if you guys are in the practice, they're finishing with a game, you can play, that's fine. They're playing inter-squad games, blue versus yellow, that's fine. The minute there is an actual ref, there is an actual lineup, a published lineup, you cannot dress, you cannot be part of it. You need to sit out and stay in the bleachers and watch. That also means at the end of the 48 hours, hey, we lent you a pair of gloves and a helmet for tryouts so that you could have a visor. You got to give it back. Can't walk away with it. The t-shirt, can't walk away with it. This is the technical, direct definition of it. This is the full-on declared version of that rule. They are very, very strict about all of this. Since my court case, they have made these rules much more strict. As I previously mentioned, the reason behind this rule is that They want to keep the NCAA an amateur league. They want to be amateurs only, no professionals. You were drafted in the NHL, you can go to camp. Rookie camp. After rookie camp, you got to come back home. You cannot go to main camp because you've done 148 hours. You can't play any exhibitions with them. You can't keep any of the stuff. Technically speaking, you have to pay for your own way there. So pay your flight to camp and this and that. Now at the pro level, it's completely different. NHL teams know about this and they work with the player to make sure that they don't break this eligibility rule. That's why you see guys like, for example, Devin Levi, who was drafted by Florida and is owned by the Sabres. He goes to camp every year and he comes home, goes to school, there's no issues. Plenty of players do this. The biggest thing is amateurs cannot get paid for what they do. That is why you're an amateur. You do not get paid. You're putting in the work for free and hoping one day you become professional. So there's a very, very strict barrier between amateur and pro. And it's basically the paycheck. Getting paid, getting free stuff, getting endorsements, all that stuff. That is what major juniors is and what stops you from going NCAA if you take that route. It's one or the other, unfortunately. There are loopholes in terms of, well, I want to stay longer than 48 hours. Perfect, there's no problem. You physically can. Technically speaking, the rule, you cannot. Physically, you can. So what I mean by this, you go to training camp for 48 hours, it's just practice and testing. You're having fun, you want to stay until Friday, for example. You want to stay a couple extra days, perfect. Mom and dad foot the bill. So he gets on the ice for practice, you need to be charged for the ice time. It's not going to be the full amount of the ice, but it's part of it. You need to be charged for the workouts. You need to be charged for the food that he eats. He cannot stay in the free housing. You need to have a bill for the hotel. You need to have a bill for every single thing he did, showing that you paid for it. This way, the team is not footing the bill. He's no longer considered a professional. He's still an amateur because you guys footed the bill. And I'm saying this because it was in my court case. In my case, we had to foot the bill. So all the teams that I went to trial for, we called them, they gave us bills, we paid them, and that helped me. So you need to foot the bill. There's nothing that can be paid for by the team. He breaks a stick, don't let them give him another one. They give him a t-shirt at the beginning of camp, pay for it. These are little loopholes you can have to stay at camp a little longer if you really enjoy it and you're still not sure, without losing your eligibility. However, when it comes time to exhibition games, there is no loophole for that. If you step on that ice with somebody that is an official lineup, an official ref, versus another team or even versus your own team, but it's an official game, they sell tickets, they have an event for it, you will lose your eligibility because in those games there are other players that are not amateurs. So because you are playing in a organized sanctioned game with non-amateur players, professional players, you lose your eligibility. So everything else you can kind of work around. That you cannot. Do not step on the ice for that game.
If you like this video, click this one or this one for more content just like it. If not, hit the link down below to reach out to us with any of your questions.